So I want to talk about the poor, middle class, and wealthy really quickly in terms of the United States. Because I've been taking a lot of political science classes and now I'm taking a philosophy class, and a lot of great thinkers over the millennia have said the middle class should be so big that it's bigger than both the poor and the rich combined. And I'm sure people have heard a lot of politicians say we need to help the middle class, we need to make the middle class bigger and all that. But in the United States, the middle class is almost non-existent. The rich have an overwhelming majority or an overwhelming chunk of the wealth of the money just altogether. And I know some people will say, well, money is just made up. We can just print more money. But when you do that, you can just mess up the economy even more. And so at this point, the wealthy have a lot of money, the poor don't have that much money, the middle class is barely there, and so the economy is struggling. And over the past 30 years, a lot of politicians and presidents and presidential candidates have argued for trickle down economics or supply side economics, and that is cutting taxes on the rich, because once the rich have more money, they will invest that money into the economy, like build or make more jobs, build more factories, whatever. And then that'll make the economy bigger. We'll have more jobs, more money to go around, and all that. Trickle down, it'll trickle down on everybody. We've been doing that for the past 30 years, and that hasn't happened. We've been making less and less money, even though our output and overall efficiency has skyrocketed, and the wealthy has the gap between the poor and the wealthy has been further divided over the past 30 years. So a lot of people want to go back to demand side economics, where you tax the rich and give more tax cuts, more benefits and stuff to the poor and middle class to build them up. Well, still the point is they don't want the poor to be big. They're going to build up the poor to the middle class, make the middle class bigger, put some of the rich down back to the middle class also to make the wealth more in the middle class, and then have the rich still wealthy and the poor still kind of poor. But that's the whole point of an economy, of a self-sufficient economy, to have the money flowing. But when we just keep giving more and more money to the rich and then they just hold it, and then the poor just get bigger and bigger and bigger and less money, then we have a problem in the United States. That's why I'm not for trickle-down economics, not for supply-side economics. That's why I can say I'm for redistribution of wealth, when in reality we've just been cutting taxes more and more and more for the wealthy. Back during World War II, after huge stock market crash and stuff, because the wealthy had a ton of money. It's happened multiple times in history. That's why people need to take history class, because we've seen this time and time again. The last time it happened, we had to put all these massive taxes on the rich, and taxes were at like 90% for the richest people. And I understand people will be like, well, somebody who's rich in one state isn't rich in another state, so if you say a tax at this income bracket, then it might tax other people and blah 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 blah. But again, well, not again in this video, again that I've mentioned in other videos, we don't have that many tax brackets. We can create way more tax brackets for wealthier people and put more percentages. Like, if you make $1 million, then you're taxed at 50%. If you make $2 million at 55, $3 million at 60, something like that. But instead, it's really low, and there's only like what, 3 or 4 tax brackets in the United States. And they're just trying to add small amounts of taxes. Like Elizabeth Warren is proposing a 2% tax on people making $50 million, or who have $50 million in assets, not that make $50 million, I don't believe. And then 3% tax on people who have $1 billion in assets. That's a giant gap. 50 million to 1 billion. You go 2% to 3%. What about all the millions in between? Do more tax brackets, and it'll be a lot more fair, a lot more equal, or equitable, I should say, and it should help fix the economy. It is not managing the economy at this point. We're now at the point of fixing the economy.